Have you ever, like, just sat and thought about time? You know what I mean? And, like, what if our lives are kind of, like, more connected than we think? Well, buckle up, because today we are going deep into some really wild concepts from the Law of One. We're talking past lives, time, and even the possibility that you're living more than one life, like right now.
Yeah, we're going to be exploring the Law of One books by Ra today and really unpack how past, present, and future might actually all be happening at the same time. We're also going to look at deja vu and if it could be more than just a weird feeling and how this thing called the higher self might be the key to all of it.
Okay, so Ra's concept of time is like the first big whoa. They basically say, forget linear time as we know it. There's space-time, which is like our normal everyday experience of, one moment and the next. And then there's time-space, where all moments, past, present, future, they're all existing right now.
It's kind of like imagine looking at a map of the world. London and Sydney, they both exist at the same time, even though you can only be in one place physically. Ra uses a similar analogy with time. All those different points in your life, they're like cities and villages all existing and functioning at the same time in this now of time space.
So it's not just that our past lives happened way back when and our future is some unknown thing out there. They're all happening right now.
And that raises such a big question, right? Like, what does that even mean for how we understand ourselves if every life we've ever lived and every life we will live is happening at this very moment? I mean, it's kind of a lot to think about.
It really is. And this leads us to deja vu.
Yeah,
That strange feeling of like, wait, I've done this before. Could it be because we're actually getting glimpses of these other simultaneous timelines?
it's interesting because Ra talks about the illusory system of space-time. It's like
Mhm.
the way we experience reality in this linear way is kind of a construct. So maybe in time-space, those boundaries between moments are kind of fluid and we get these little flashes of familiarity from those other experiences.
Yeah, makes you wonder. And while Ron doesn't come right out and say deja vu is you remembering other timelines, the idea that all these lives are happening at once certainly leaves that possibility open, right? But let's step back a bit and talk about reincarnation and the law of one and these parallel realities we're touching on.
Reincarnation in the Law of One isn't just about being born, dying, and being reborn again. It's about learning. Souls keep coming back until they learn certain lessons, mainly around love light and helping others.
Right. And those repeating patterns we sometimes see in our lives or even feel like we've experienced in past lives. Rod doesn't really call them time loops like in sci-fi movies. It's more like similar situations coming up again and again, giving us a chance to make different choices based on, what we learned or didn't learn last time.
Exactly. And this connects to the idea of intelligent infinity. Think of the universe as this massive, conscious, intelligent energy. Every choice we make creates what Ra calls branches of experience, which we might understand as parallel realities. So it's like with each decision point, the universe doesn't just go one way, but splits into multiple paths.
So every choice every being makes is like weaving this huge, ever-growing tapestry of possibilities.
Yeah, and Ra is very clear that the creator gives us total freedom to explore and understand ourselves through all these infinite experiences. It's mind-blowing when you think about the sheer scale of it. It means there could be countless versions of you right now, all living out different realities based on different choices.
Wow. And now we come to the higher self. Where did this fit into all this talk of time and reincarnation and parallel realities?
Ra describes the higher self as existing in what's called mid-sixth density. Think of densities as like levels of spiritual vibration and understanding. Mid-sixth density is a much higher state of being than our current third density physical reality. The higher self is like a more evolved version of us that has already learned many of the lessons we're still working on in our third density lives.
So it's like a future us looking back and guiding us.
It's more like it's a simultaneous aspect of us existing at a higher level of awareness. The higher self can see the bigger picture, and it uses the lessons from all our third density experiences to help us evolve. It helps to guide and plan our future lives, even our past and present ones. And it's aware of the potential outcomes across all those branching parallel realities we talked about.
It's pretty wild. So could it be that our higher self is actually guiding multiple versions of us at the same time in all those different timelines and realities?
The Law of One definitely seems to suggest that. Ra uses the term mind, body, spirit, complex totality to refer to our entire being across all these simultaneous experiences. And this totality is a resource for the higher self. So, yeah, it's totally possible that your higher self is overseeing and subtly influencing multiple expressions of you in different timelines, learning and growing through all those combined experiences.
That is a lot to take in. So let's do a quick recap of what we've explored about the law of one's perspective. Time isn't linear, but a simultaneous now. with all our lives coexisting in this realm called time-space. And while Ra doesn't explicitly say it, this could explain déjà vu.
Right. And we talk about how reincarnation in this framework is about learning through recurring themes and choices, not just repeating the same life over and over. Our free will creates this constantly expanding web of parallel realities within something called intelligent infinity.
And then there's the higher self, which exists in a higher density and could be acting as a guide for multiple versions of us across all these timelines and parallel realities. It's a pretty incredible framework for understanding our existence.
It really is. And it's important to remember that these are complex and unconventional ideas presented by the law of one. They give us a completely different way of looking at time consciousness and our multifaceted existence.
So here's a final thought to ponder. If all time is now and your higher self is connected to all your experiences across these simultaneous realities, how might that change the way you approach your life today and the choices you make? What patterns or lessons might be carrying over from other lifetimes, and what new choices could you make knowing that you're part of something so much bigger than you ever imagined?
It's a really amazing thing to think about. It challenges us to explore who we are and the vastness of reality itself. And who knows, maybe it can even help us make more conscious and fulfilling choices in this very moment.
And that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us as we explore these fascinating ideas. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep an open mind.
We'll see you on the other side.